my name is Noah and I'm a DevRel engineer working on Atlas. In today's video, I'll be showing you how to use custom rules with Atlas's Migrate lint command in order to validate your database migrations before applying them. I'll be using code from our video on schema linting with custom rules, so if you'd like a more detailed, in-depth explanation of how my code is set up for this video, feel free to go ahead and watch that video. It'll be linked down below. To start off, I have these three files. I have schema.pg.hcl, which contains the desired state of our Postgres database. I have schema.rule.hcl, which contains the definitions for the predicates and rules that we want to enforce on our database. And I have atlas.hcl, which contains the definition of our environment and connects it to our linting rules. There is a set group of analyses and checks that Atlas will run when we run Migrate lint, like detecting nonlinear changes or data-dependent changes in a migration. But today we'll be focusing on adding our own custom rules to these pre-existing analyses and checks when we run Migrate lint. Just to bring us back up to speed from the schema linting video, our predicate here states that we want our columns to either be not null, or if they are null, they should have a default value. And then our rule here asserts this predicate and prints out a message if that predicate is not being followed. So let's change our schema to trigger this assertion. I'm going to go back to my schema.pg.hcl file and delete the first and last name columns and replace them with just a name column with null equals true and no default value. Now let's create a migration by running atlas migrate diff. And as you can see, we now have a migrations directory. So now we can write out our atlas migrate lint command to validate our migration. But before I actually run this, let's go through the command piece by piece so we can understand what's happening here. So first we have atlas migrate lint, the command itself, and that's being followed up by the environment flag. So what this is doing is connecting us to our environment block here in atlas.hcl, and that's giving us access to our dev database that's necessary for any migrate command. But it's also giving us access to our lint block, and that is what's connecting our rules file to our analysis. So this is really the important part that's adding our custom rules to all of the analyses that Migrate lint is going to perform. Additionally, we have our latest flag. So there are a few different ways you can configure your Migrate lint command to establish which migration files are going to be analyzed. So the latest flag says that the N, whatever number this is, the N most recent migration files, those are going to be what's analyzed. So since we only have one file, I'm only going to be doing one. So let's run that and see what we get. So as you can see, we have rule column not null. Column name must be not null or have a default value. So that is our assertion message right over here. So let's make another change to our schema that would also break our predicate. So I'm going to add another column and we'll call it occupation. And now I'm going to run migrate diff again, create a second migration in this directory, and then we'll run migrate lint one more time, again with the latest one. And now as you can see, it says that column occupation this time must be not null or have a default value. Now we can also, since we have a second migration here, put latest 2. And now we're going to see both of the responses to our name column and our occupation column, whereas before all we saw was the occupation column. So as you can see, Atlas is only reporting on the migrations that we're telling it to analyze. This is what makes Migrate lint different from schema lint. With schema lint, we're analyzing our schema as a whole and reporting on anything within the schema that breaks our rules. With Migrate lint, it allows us to analyze each change individually and check if it would break our rules or possibly be destructive to our schema before applying it to our database. So to summarize this demo, we can add custom rules to our migration linting process by simply configuring a lint block in our atlas.hcl file to include our rules file. So for more information on migration linting, how we set up our files in this video, and further Atlas documentation, there are some helpful links in the description down below. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.